I'm Lavender from Lavender Witch in the UK, and I thought I'd make this video today while I'm sat out in my garden getting some much needed vitamin D. And I've had a few questions come through to me via Facebook and Instagram, and basically people are wanting to know about actual witchcraft. So I thought I'd make a video and have a little chat with you and hopefully answer some of those questions. So what is witchcraft? Well, the easy answer is it's basically that. It's a craft. It's actually a practice, and it's a journey, and we are constantly learning on this journey. It is in no way a religion, and part of that question that is common to ask is kind of, where do I start? I think people kind of overcomplicate it, maybe think it is a lot harder than it is. So where do you start is really easy for me to answer. Basically start wherever it is you want to. If you've got something that you're passionate about, or you've even got an interest in, whether that's herbology, crystals, you love being out in nature, learning about trees, the lunar cycle, any of that, whatever your interest is, take it, learn it, grow with it, experience it, and just, go along that path with that one thing, and you'll find that it takes you off on other different things. I kind of explain it like going for a walk in the woods. You follow your path, and there'll be twists, there'll be turns. Some of it you'll go uphill and struggle a little, some of it you'll just glide along without even thinking about it. And you might even come to a crossroads where you might have to decide, am I going to go this way or am I going to go that way? And it's all about choice, and it's all about what feels right to you. So for every single witch it's different. So not any one of us will do the same thing or have the same practice. Myself, I use herbs a lot, and I work with herbal magic a lot, and I candle magic quite a lot. But then I have friends who are witches that don't really use herbs that much, and they're really into crystals and things like that. And it doesn't mean that it's not witchcraft. It's all under that umbrella term of witchcraft, and we are all witches. So we all have a very different experience, and neither one is right and neither one is wrong. So you can go with your gut, you go with your heart, and you make it your own. And because of that, you end up quite passionate about it, and you love what you do, and it just becomes a natural part of your life. So it isn't as difficult, and it isn't that tag of a witch or a witchcraft that some of you might think it is, and some of you might even be practicing it already in your life without even realising. What are tools, and do we actually need them? Tools are something witches use to either focus their intent or enhance their workings. They can be anything from your bottles and your pouches and that you put your actual workings into, to candles, crystals, wands. Your candle holders are classed as tools. I use an athame that I got, this was gifted to me. I use this for inscribing my candles and things, so this is a tool. But I also consider my witch runes a tool. These are a divination tool, and I use these quite a lot. I also have mirror plates that I use that this is a mirror plate that I use quite a lot. I have a few different ones because I use sigil work, and I'll put the sigil on here. This is for my spells to have power, just to give them that extra bit of boost. But I will place my candles on here, so any work that I'm doing, it'll add to my work that I'm doing. But this is also a tool. So there's many different tools, and it is a personal choice again. Um, it's neither wrong or right. If you want to use tools, that's fine. If you don't, that's also fine. Um, if you prefer those wonderfully ornate, really pretty tools that you see out in shops and online and things like that, that's fine. If you're drawn to that, that's brilliant. Use it. My bank balance will never stretch to some of the amazing things out there that I would love to have around my home and around my space. But it's all about really what makes you happier and what helps you focus in the workings that you're doing. So if you have something around your space where you're doing your spell work, for instance, and it makes you so much more comfortable, more focused, then use it, go with it. If you think that all you need is to be outside and use your hands, use your words, use your thought, then that's fine too. So really, to answer the question, if you need them or not, that is entirely up to you. I have so many things that I've seen in shops that are around my house, but a lot of my magical practice are things like my witch rooms that I was just showing you, that I've actually foraged. Me and my husband go walking a lot, and we'll forage nature's, what Mother Earth will give you, and then we will turn them into tools that I love to work with. But that's because I feel more at home with natural products. I've also got this amazing one that my husband made me that was from an old lavender bush in our garden that we sadly had to take up. But he actually made me this, and this makes me smile and it makes me focus. So I use it a lot in my positive workings. So there are all sorts of things that you can use and that you can actually upcycle or repurpose, or so it doesn't have to be expensive. You can craft just about anything. If there's something you think that you need for that specific work that you want to do and you can't find it or you can't use it, charity shops and car boot sales and things like that, you will find a whole treasure of things that you think, oh, that would be perfect to put my candles on, or I love that dish for putting my crystals in, or things. There's all sorts you can find there without it being expensive. And it kind of becomes fun looking for all these little hidden treasures that nobody wants anymore. So yeah, it is personal choice, and it's entirely up to you whether you use tools or not. If, like me, you go out in nature and you collect way too many branches, way too many shells from the beach or stones from the beach, then it's a good reason to actually have them, because you can find a use for them and a home for them. So entirely up to you. How do you actually cast a spell? Now, quite often I get asked this question because a lot of people, especially people that are starting out in witchcraft, they think a spell is some of these that you see online that have got a whole list of ingredients, and you have to do it at a specific time on a specific day of the week and on a specific moon cycle. And that works fine if that's the way you work. And I do have spells that have a really big long list of ingredients that I need to combine. When I make witch bottles, I use a lot of different herbs and crystals and essential oils, and you bring them together for a specific intent and enhance your working, and that's great. But that isn't the only way to actually cast a spell. You can actually use simply your words, simply just your thought, and it's just different between different practitioners. Some people need that whole concentration, spend the time, maybe an hour or so. They will cleanse their space, they will bring all these ingredients together, and then they will cast their spell, and they'll get results, and that's fantastic. I've done workings that myself like that, and they've got fantastic results. But I've also done spell work, which is just simply focusing on one candle with the thought of what I'm actually trying to send out there and what my intent actually is. And I will either think it or I will say it out loud, and that is actually spell casting too. Um, so it can be as simple as that. It's just you have to believe in your thoughts. It's all about your own intent. It is, all about what you're trying to achieve. It's not necessarily about what you've got in front of you or what you're bringing together. All these things that are all over that you can buy, your crystals, your herbs, your oils, colours, candles, all of that, they're fantastic and they have their place. But if you can't get hold of that, it doesn't mean that you can't cast a spell. A lot of these have their own energies and their own qualities that they will bring to your work, and they'll enhance your work. So you might find you get better results if you do it that way. But when it comes to witchcraft and casting spells, a lot of it is your own inner power. So it is what you're sending out or what you're bringing in or what your intent is behind it. So all of that other stuff isn't as important as of what's in here and what's in here. If you believe it and because if you're going in to cast a spell and you're thinking, it might work, or let's do it and let's see what happens, you're probably not going to get the results you're looking for. If you actually go into it where this is what you're going to do, this is the result I'm going to get, it's going to happen at this time, this is going to happen, and that's the end result, then that's what's going to happen. You have to go into it believing in yourself, knowing that this is going to make a difference, and just leave all that self-doubt over there where it belongs. Follow your heart, follow your head, and that's all you need, really. When people come to me and ask, when should I start doing this spell, do I have to wait for a moon cycle, or do I have to wait for a specific day of the week, or I've got all these things but I don't know when to do it. I get very puzzling looks when I turn around to them and I say, you've already started. A friend of mine actually came to me and she said that I'm going to do this spell. I've got all the herbs I need, I've got all the crystals I need, I've got this piece of material, I've got this, so I've got all these bits, and I'm going to do this spell, but I'm not sure when to do it. When should I do it, Lavender? And I turned around to her and I said, you've already started, so finish whenever you feel it's right. And she sort of looked at me as if I was, am I crazy? What do you mean I've already started? I said, well, for me, as soon as you have got that thought, this is the spell I want to do, and you've put together what you need to do to achieve your goal, and then you start collecting those bits and pieces. Those bits and pieces have already got a purpose. The herbs you're collecting, they're for a reason. The crystals you're collecting, they're for a reason. So that they've already got a purpose, so they're already part of your spell, which means you've already started doing your spell. So she sort of smiled at me and then, okay, that makes sense. So we had a little chat and a little giggle, and she went home and said, I'm going to finish my spell. So, it's really not about the cycles of the moon, the day of the week, or anything like that. You can start whenever you feel the need that something, if somebody needs a protection or they need healing, you're not going to say, wait a minute, I can't, it's Sunday, I've got to wait till Wednesday. You do it when it's needed, and you do it when you feel right to do it. That's all I'm going to say. So my next question was, what is the difference between a black witch and a white witch? Quite often when I say, yeah, I'm a witch, they will say, ooh, are you a white witch? And I'll go, I'm just a witch. And then they'll look at you as if, well, but does that mean you're a white witch or a black witch? And I just turn to them and I say, look, as far as I'm concerned, there is no black or white witch. I think we all live in the grey, and it is all personal intent. So everybody, no matter who you are, can, if you are doing good spell after good spell after good spell, you know, you're living in the light, your vibration, your personal vibration is all positive, but something happens in your life, or somebody needs your help, or somebody is hurt, or anything, you know, the situation can make you do something that you wouldn't normally do, or you might need to go a little bit dark or do spell work that's not, you know, all positive. Does that then mean that you're no longer a white witch and you're now a black witch? You know, and it works the other way around. If you're somebody that does a lot of dark, you know, chaos causing, you know, not very pleasant witchcraft all the time, but on this one occasion somebody needs your help and you choose to help them, does that mean you're no longer a black witch and you're now a white witch? So to me, a person is just a witch. End of the story. The main thing is, just like in life with anything else, it's their personality and their intent and their personal choice that makes whether they are doing light magic or dark magic. We all have the capability and the intent to do either. It is just a personal choice. So for me, there is no black or white witch. We are all just witches. Another popular question is, one, what is an altar? Do I need one? And how do I set one up? Now, okay, altars and shrines are very common, especially among witches and people that do witchcraft. A shrine, to me, is very different. That is usually something that stays up all the time, is usually dedicated to a specific god or a specific goddess or for a specific reason, and it never changes. It's always there and it's dedicated for one thing, and that's there all the time. So that's more of a shrine. An altar to me is something very, very different. An altar is a working space that is somewhere where is dedicated for you to do your witchcraft, be that crafting, spell work, meditation, healing, tarot reading, divination, whatever it is that you're doing is witchcraft. You can do it at your altar, and that altar may never look the same from one job to the next or from one time of the year to the next. You know, some people have a very strict rules of how they set their altar out, and they have to have certain things on them, like they will have things to represent the 4 compass points or the 4 elements. So they'll have something on there to represent earth, and they'll have something on there to represent fire and water and air, and they may have a god and goddess or a male and female or the sun and moon, but they have to have these things, and they're laid out in a strict way on their altar, and that's fine. If that's what works for you, then that's fantastic. Me, I don't like rules. My altar constantly changes, constantly grows. It changes depending on what I'm using it for. So I may bring in certain crystals if I'm doing a certain spell work, or certain herbs. I have specific pieces that I might put on there that will enhance my work. Again, my candle plates, they've all got different sigils on them depending what they're for. So I will change those also. You know, I'll also put flowers on there for what season it is, or if it's a specific Sabbath of the year. I'll talk about Sabbats in another video, that's a different thing altogether. But if it is a specific Sabbath, I might have flowers. Like at the moment, we're in the spring equinox has just gone, so it would be daffodils, and there would be plants and things on there. So I dress it for the occasion or for the purpose. So it changes all the time. I do have several things on there that stay there all the time. Like I always have my candle holders are always on there so that I can light them at any given moment. I also always have my athame on there, so if I need to carve anything into a candle, it's there and I'm ready to go and I know where it is. I also have this on there all the time, but that's, yes, I'm a witch and I have a cauldron, but I don't hubble bubble over this cauldron. I use this for burning my incense blends in, so that stays put and it's fireproof, so it stays there with my incense smouldering away in it. So I have those on there all the time, but a lot of the rest of it changes at any given moment. So really, an altar space is somewhere for you to work, for you to actually sit and do what you need to do. I also have what I call a travel altar, because it's not only in your home or in your sacred space that you can have an altar. If you go out for a walk and you think, I want to do some meditation, or I want to do some healing, or send some protection or positivity out there, if you have a few little things like I do, I have like this little wooden box that I keep some candles and some little things I've collected and things in it, and some incense blends in it, and then and a cloth, and I can set that up anywhere outside on the grass. I'll find myself a clearing, set it up, and then I'll just sit there and I'll do what I need to do. That means I've set up that little sacred space, that little altar space. I also do public rituals at events and camps that I run, and I officiate hand fastings and baby namings and all life rites ceremonies and things. And so when I do those, I have a public altar, which is usually on a table, and it'll have everything I need to run that specifically ritual. So they change depending on what the purpose is. Whatever it is that's going on in my space, whatever it is I'm doing, like right now I'm sat in my stone circle. I do have an altar stone in the centre. You can't see that, it's off camera, but I do have that which I would lay out. So whatever is going on in your sacred space, you make your altar like your little working area, so it's only for your witchcraft that you're performing at that time. So it's really nice just to have that dedicated space for that. So if you do want that sort of space, then that's fine. If you don't, and you think, just me sitting here on my own, I'll cross my legs, I will meditate, I will set my intentions out there, and I will do what I need to do, then that's okay too. Again, I know I keep saying it, but it is completely personal choice, and you do what you want to do. Whatever makes your work and your witchcraft work for you, and you get the results that you're looking for, then that's all that matters. That's what you're setting out to do. So if you achieve that, whatever it takes for you to achieve that, then that's fine. Nobody can say, oh no, you're doing it wrong, you need an altar, you have to have the quarters marked out, you have to do this, you have to do that. Nobody can say that to you, because if you're sitting there giving it lip service and doing that, and you're thinking, what am I doing this for? Then that's what's in your head, and that's the intent that's going out there, when it should be what you're concentrating on, and that intent that you're specifically trying to send out there doesn't get lost in all that confusion. So myself, I use an altar, but for you it is entirely up to you, and how you set that up is also entirely up to you. Just make it your own, really. So I hope I've answered a couple of those questions, and maybe gave a little bit of an insight or understanding to it. If you do have any more questions, or you might want me to let you know a little bit more in depth about anything, by all means, please do either put a comment below or pop me a message on Facebook or on Instagram, and I will try and help you the best I can. It is completely from my own perspective, my own experiences as a witch, and what I do in my own practice. Every witch will be different, so I will help you from my own perspective, but what you take from that is entirely up to you. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with me in my garden. I will be getting some more videos online as soon as I can. If you'd like to see more, please hit subscribe, that would be fantastic. I will see you again soon. Have a magical day. Bye for now.